In a quiet village, there lived a woman named Njideka. Njideka was the kind of woman people noticed the moment she stepped into a room. Her beauty was striking, smooth caramel skin that glowed like the morning sun, full lips, and eyes that sparkled like clear water, and her laughter was like music that lifted hearts. Men admired her, and women envied her. But like they say, beauty is not everything. Njideka had one flaw that overshadowed all her beauty. She was unbearably stubborn. She was as stubborn as a goat tied near a yam barn. From childhood, her parents noticed it. If her mother told her not to fetch water at night, that was exactly when she would go. If her father warned her against climbing trees, she would climb the tallest one and laugh from the top. Teachers at school had complained. Even friends avoided advising her. For Njideka did not want guidance, she wanted her own way. If you told her not to do something, she would find every reason to do exactly that. And if she made a mistake and you tried to correct her, she would rather argue than admit fault. She hated being corrected. In her heart, she believed no one had the right to tell her what to do, not even her own parents. But even at that, when Njideka grew older, many suitors came for her hand in marriage, mostly because of her beauty. Some were wealthy traders, others were great hunters, but she refused them all. At last, she married Obiora, a kind and hardworking man. People rejoiced, but also whispered. Obiora was quiet, patient, a man who avoided quarrels. They called him the calm river. Many wondered how such a calm man would live with such a fiery, headstrong woman. At first, marriage was sweet. Njideka cooked delicious meals, kept the compound clean, and showed Obiora affection. He in turn loved her deeply and gave her everything she asked for. But with time, Njideka's stubbornness began to manifest in full. Whatever Obiora advised her to do, she would deliberately choose the opposite path. And when he gently corrected her, she did not only refuse to listen, but would argue until her voice was the last one heard. Slowly, Obiora began to realize that winning an argument with his wife was like chasing the wind. Impossible mission. One afternoon, Obiora came back from the farm with a basket of yams. In a hurry to meet a friend, he asked Njideka to take them inside and arrange them. But in her usual manner, she refused immediately, saying she would do it at her own time, saying she disliked being told what to do. Hours passed. She forgot. And by evening, the goats had eaten most of the yams. When Obiora returned and discovered what happened, he was furious. But Njideka only shrugged and said, you are shouting because of ordinary yam, something you can easily replace. At least be grateful it was our goats and not the neighbor's goats that ate it. Obiora was speechless. Another time, Njideka insisted on buying a whole basket of pepper to dry in the sun. Obiora warned her to wait until harmattan, when the skies would stay clear and the drying would be easy. But Njideka brushed off his caution and went ahead and bought it. That very day, heavy rain poured from morning till evening. The next day, it rained again. And on the third day, the sky still wept without pause. By then, the peppers began to rot, their bright red color turning dull. In the end, she had no choice but to share what little could be salvaged with neighbors before the entire basket was ruined. Yet, even then, Njideka refused to admit fault, claiming she had only been generous. Obiora still loved her deeply and overlooked her stubbornness, hoping and praying that she would change. Njideka soon became pregnant, and their joy knew no bounds. Both families celebrated with them, and Obiora could not hide his excitement about becoming a father. Njideka's mother would always warn her, "My daughter, don't eat unripe fruits. Don't take too much pepper and avoid strong drinks. They are not good for you and the baby." Njideka would nod like an obedient child, but in her heart, she was already planning to do the opposite. She would chew unripe mango until her teeth went sore, load her soup with pepper as if she was in a competition. One evening, against Obiora's serious warning, she sneaked in a small bottle of local dry gin. The next day, her stomach turned upside down like a dancing drum. That reckless act landed her in the hospital. She nearly lost the pregnancy, and only then did she realize just how close she had come to disaster. Even after the hospital issue, Njideka still did not learn. In fact, she upgraded. That was when her endless and outrageous demands began. Obiora began to think she was sent to test his patience. One night, she woke Obiora up by 3 a.m. "Obiora, I want roasted corn." "But Njideka, is not even corn season. And you couldn't wait till morning to tell me this, even if it were to be season." If Obiora didn't meet her demand, Njideka would sulk till morning. She would sit with a very long face, refusing to talk to him. She wouldn't sweep the house. She wouldn't cook. She would just fold her arms like a queen waiting for her servants. Another night, she tapped Obiora. "Obiora, I want alligator meat now." "Ah, Njideka, it's 2 a.m. How do I get alligator meat?" "Are you not a man? Enter the bush." She would nag him till daybreak, refusing him sleep or peace. If Obiora tried to doze, she would shake his leg, tap his chest, or even sing loudly just to keep him awake. By the time the cock crowed, poor Obiora looked like someone who had fought a spiritual battle. His eyes were red, his body weak, and his face swollen from lack of sleep. Meanwhile, Njideka was smiling, satisfied, and already planning her next midnight demand. One morning, Njideka went with her husband to the farm. The sun was already getting hot, and the soil smelled of fresh earth. As Obiora harvested yams, Njideka wandered near the edges of the farm, humming to herself. That was when she saw it, a cluster of large fresh mushrooms sprouting from the roots of a fallen tree. They looked fresh, fat, delicious, soft, and inviting. Her eyes lit up. Without hesitation, she plucked them, dusted off the soil, and tucked them into her basket. Obiora turned just in time to see her. His heart sank. He dropped the hoe and rushed towards her. Njideka, you know it's forbidden for pregnant women to eat mushroom in our land. Please, don't be stubborn. Drop it. I'll buy you anything you crave. Even if it's dragon's meat, I'll buy it. Please just drop it. Obiora pleaded, almost kneeling on the ground. She folded her arms, staring at him like a judge about to pass sentence. I beg, that's just a superstitious belief. Nothing will happen. Oh, you think I'll be the first pregnant woman to eat mushroom? Others eat, but they won't announce it. Relax. Nothing will happen. After much pleading from Obiora, with a very loud sigh, she finally threw it away, hissing as if she was the one doing him a huge favor. But deep down, Njideka still believed other women had eaten it before and nothing happened. Njideka couldn't get the mushrooms out of her mind. It was as if they were calling her name. The very next day, once Obiora left for the market, she hurriedly went to the farm. She plucked the mushrooms, looking left and right, as though the trees had eyes. Back home, she cooked them quickly, humming happily like someone preparing a royal feast. When she finished, she licked her fingers, patted her stomach, belched loudly, and laughed to herself. Did I die? I knew that nothing would happen. Ordinary mushroom. Superstitious people. She leaned back in satisfaction, completely unaware that the real drama had only just begun. At first, nothing seemed wrong. The baby kicked strongly, and Njideka glowed. But when her due month came, nothing happened. 9 months passed, no labor. Obiora grew worried. He took her to the village midwife, who gave her something to take and reassured them she would soon go into labor. 10 months passed, yet no sign of labor. Njideka still moved about looking strong and healthy, but fear slowly started creeping into her heart. They went back to the midwife, who examined her carefully and only shrugged, saying there was nothing she could do. They should simply wait. Then the 11th month came, and still nothing. By the 12th month, even the neighbors began to whisper. Obiora grew restless, his nights sleepless. Out of desperation, they went to a herbalist. After his consultation, he looked at them sternly and declared, "This woman has brought this on herself. Let her speak the truth before the elders of the land." At that moment, Njideka broke down in tears. She confessed everything to Obiora. How she had secretly plucked and eaten the forbidden mushrooms despite his warnings. Obiora was shattered, his heart heavy with disappointment, staring at her as if he could not believe his eyes. Njideka went before the elders with trembling hands and tearful eyes. Njideka fell on her knees, weeping bitterly. She confessed openly, admitting her stubbornness and begging for forgiveness. "I am sorry," she cried. "I'll never be stubborn again." The eldest of the council, who was also the mouthpiece of the gods, sat in silence for a while, then consulted with the gods. Finally, in a deep voice, he said, "Our people say, the chicken that claims to be wise always becomes a fool in the cooking pot. A stubborn fly follows the corpse to the grave. But the gods are merciful. You shall live, but you must face punishment. So your disobedience will serve as a lesson to you and to others as well." Her punishment was announced. She would live under the watchful eyes of Mama Obi, the crankiest old woman in the village, known for her sharp tongue, quick temper, and endless complaints. More so, she would cook mushrooms every week for all the old women in the community until the land itself forgave her. The crowd murmured. To Obiora, it was a fair punishment. Njideka's face fell. To her, the punishment felt almost worse than death. Living with Mama Obi was a punishment no one in the village wished for. She was a very old lady but unmarried, and she had no child of her own. People rumored that she was a witch, which was why she lived alone. Her voice could scatter a market square, and her frown could silence even the noisiest children. Now, Njideka, who once thought herself stubborn, found herself under the roof of the one person more stubborn than she could ever be. Nothing Njideka ever did pleased Mama Obi. If she cooked rice, Mama Obi would frown and say she wanted yam. If she cooked yam, she would sigh and say she wanted eba. And when Njideka finally cooked eba, Mama Obi would push the plate aside and mumbled that she didn't even know how to cook. If Njideka swept the compound, Mama Obi would stand with her hands on her waist and declare, "Ha! You call this sweeping? Even the wind does a better job." Day by day, Njideka realized that living with Mama Obi was like trying to please a drum that never stops echoing. No matter how hard you hit, it will still sound louder than you. She never ceased to remind her why she was living with her. Cooking and serving the old women was another wahala entirely. Some would complain the soup had too much salt. Others would hiss that there was no salt at all. Some would say the meat was too strong. Others would say the meat was too soft. At first, Njideka was frustrated, tired from the endless complaints, and even more tired of still carrying her pregnancy like an overloaded basket. But Obiora's visits gave her strength. He encouraged her to endure, reminding her of the reward in the end. Slowly, Njideka began to change. She no longer reacted to Mama Obi's cranky remarks. Instead, she answered with a calm smile. She served the old women patiently, listened to their grumblings, and promised the next meal would be better. Surprisingly, she started enjoying Mama Obi's company and even found joy in serving the women. What once felt like punishment was slowly shaping her into a humbler and stronger woman. One evening, in her 18th month of pregnancy, Njideka was sitting with Mama Obi, gisting and laughing about what happened in the village. Suddenly, she felt the urge to urinate. She stood up, then let out a loud scream from the sharp pain that shot through her body. It was labor at last. The midwife was sent for. The labor was swift, almost as though the baby could no longer wait to see the world. Before long, Njideka delivered a bouncing baby boy. The cries of the newborn filled the night air. Njideka's relief was unexplainable, her joy overflowing. Obiora was over the moon with excitement, dancing like a child who just won a prize. Even the villagers rejoiced, for her long trial was finally over. Njideka was no longer the stubborn woman who never listened. Her suffering had humbled her. From then on, she became known not just for her beauty, but for her wisdom. Moral of the story is, stubbornness is a heavy burden. Those who refuse correction may walk straight into misfortune that will not only harm them, but also those who love them. Humility and obedience open the path to peace and lasting blessings.